Hey,
What's going on?
well, I guess we'll get to that, right? Eventually, we'll have some things to say. It looks like Nate's not going to be here. Is he? I think he's out crusading or something.
Yeah, I think, we got a lot going on with the whole hackathon going on the Gala side, and I know he's been busy with, I think he has some family in town. It's a weird week with Thanksgiving coming up, so you can see I'm not in my normal setting today. I'm back out in Oregon, not in Texas anymore for the week, so.
Well, apparently I never go anywhere because I'm still here in my office.
Yeah, I'm down at Les Schwab right now, so.
I don't need to travel. I've got children. Their
they-
imaginations kind of take me everywhere. I gotta track them down all the time.
You got enough on your plate.
Oh yeah, definitely. They like to go places, but going places can be like our backyard. That's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we could talk about Gala today. Would that work?
Yeah, I think it might work.
Some just kind of like without diving into it, there's been some ecosystem excitement. There's a lot of talk about what's coming for the chain. We kind of brushed on that a few times in the past.
Mm-hmm.
We got third-party developers being kind of wooed or even seeking out Gala chain as it seems to be a really great way to hook up to something that's going to have the ability to expand and to handle the workload that a lot of these projects want to be able to put out there. Right now there's a migration for rewards from the treasure chest system to the mint allowance, so that everything that's going to be given to either node owners or players or whatever, it's going to actually be on Gala chain as a mint allowance rather than just held as a database, just an entry in a database. Mm-hmm. So that's happening. That's kind of, it's actually kind of, I think that's one of the reasons that some things are kind of like halting right now in regards to release dates and things like that. They want to make sure that they get all this foundational stuff right, so that once they start using it, it's not going to break and then cause a rework or interfere with all of those things. I saw something in music. There was a post from Taco. He was talking about, like, he gave a bunch of bullet points of things that he had to say, or like things he wanted to announce, and in the very kind of sneaky way, he was saying that they're going to suspend the Tuesday, Thursday track drops for a bit. And he said something about in anticipation of the token launch.
Yep.
So
I have it. He said, quote, "After this week, we're going to pause standard Tuesday and Thursday track sales while we have other adventures in anticipation of token."
Yeah, so that could be soon.
Interesting.
Like, that would be cool. I think a lot of people would be really, really happy about that. So yeah, with all those exciting things happening for the behind the scenes stuff, there was actually a surprising amount of game stuff. I was looking at it. I was concerned, are we gonna have enough to talk about this week? And then I started
dove in, and you're like, oh,
digging in, and there's a lot of things that happened. So we have spider tanks. We usually lead off with some spider tank stuff. They get started early in the week with some of their stuff because the Spider Squad stream is on Tuesdays, and I like to kind of like review the week in chronological order. Mm-hmm. This week they had Think Jaehoon on. He's I guess he's their social media guy for. I think this is his official designation. He's heads up the social media stuff. He joined Sinister and ZXCX, and they just played and laughed. I was listening to it, and they did do a bunch of giveaways. They were giving away tanks. They were talking about like just stuff. Jaehoon's always like when he does his interviews, he's done some of the interviews for Ahead of the Game and stuff like that. He's always just prying into the people's lives. He's like, so why did you come to Gala? What was it that brought you to Gala? You know, he asked those questions. Well, he was doing the same thing as the guest.
Yeah.
So he was trying to he was keeping them engaged. You know, it was kind of cool because I don't think anyone's ever done that. We like Sinister usually is the one who heads this up, and he does a lot of that interviewing kind of stuff. And it was like a reversal of the role there. This past week there were two pretty cool competitions from the community, and there was an outside party. Like Evenwave let me know about the Moth Survival Challenge before he posted it. I started I'm like that. I want to talk about that. So the survival mode for spider tanks has been there since the beginning, but there hasn't been a way to track just how good people are. Like you can get your own score and you can boast about it, maybe send a screenshot, but there's nothing in game that tracks it, and there hasn't been any kind of reward structure for it or anything like that. So the Moth decided to do a survival challenge, and they paired with Rostakip again with NFT guilds, and he had a tracking system in place to see what level you were at. Actually, you know what? No, it was Deadly that did that.
It was Deadly.
It was Deadly. It wasn't. Okay. So yeah, Deadly did that. I
it was through the Moth.
Yeah, and so Deadly worked out a bunch of the software for the tracking information behind the scenes, and now that is live, and they're not bringing that down. That's going to continue even after now that the challenge is over. It went from the 16th to the 18th, and there was some neat drama with that because. Spoiler had posted a monster score. I mean, absolutely crazy.
Like 3.5 hours straight or something.
Well, yeah, it was longer than that. I think even he completed 183 waves, and everyone was like, "That's untouchable." SSNLO,
I found it.
Yeah, SSNLO was in the midst of his run. And he ran out of time. So the timer, he had a time zone thing. He didn't. Something came up that he didn't see it. So he finished with 162 waves in second place. He didn't quit. He kept going, and he ended up setting the new record of 201 waves. So, and he was playing for 6.5 hours.
That's insane.
Just survival mode. So that was a real feat of gaming strength, and we wanted to call a shout out to that because 6.5 hours of slogging it out against AI bots and spider tanks. That's
tough.
That's intense. So the top prize got a sweatshirt and 6,000 Gala, and there were other prizes out there too, and I believe Evenwave said that he told SSNLO that he's going to send him a sweatshirt too, just because that was just crazy what he did.
And as they should. I mean, that's good on, the Moth is such a solid group of guys and girls. I mean, it is that's really, they've been around the community for a long time, especially in the spider tank side of things. They've really been pushing to, create these games within a games, and we have the leaderboard for spider tanks on the Gala Collective now. The Moth brought this to the Gala Collective. They just wrapped up their first week a couple days ago, and Esther Noob ended up taking first place. And just so anyone listening knows, the top placers in the leaderboards get access to either an ancient or a legendary tank for that next week, essentially. So it's a way to get access to really high level assets. There's a rental system that the Moth has built out to allow, come compete in the leaderboard. It's, free to enter. It doesn't cost anything. You can just create a profile, come on and play, and have the opportunity to win something cool. So, the Moth is such an amazing group. They've really been working to power the
really motivated. Yeah.
And the fact that now, they're bringing stuff over to the Gala Collective. They want to be able, there's a whole suite of things they've done. They have the tank tool, that shows you, okay, you can look at player profile. You can look at the upgrading calculator for what do you need to upgrade your tank? There's a VP calculator that looks at, okay, what, based off of your wins, what type of tank you're using, what your rank is. It shows you, what your potential earnings for that day look like. There's even a couple other things in the background I know they're working on right now with some other kind of tank style tools and stuff. So,
I think there's a tool that might be related to The Walking Dead. I think
there might be one come. Yeah, there might be.
I think that's on the horizon.
Yeah, might see something in the next couple days.
I really hope I didn't ruin anything there. We love leaks, right?
We love leaks. We love them.
Keep your eyes open for that. That'll be
keep your eyes peeled.
That'll be useful.
Follow Gala Collective on Twitter.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. But no, yeah, it's really great to see people come together and push things forward. And it was really cool too to see them get a little bit of a shout out. I know that within the Spider Tanks Discord, or I don't know if that's the right image. Yeah,
that was.
It's cool to see that they're noticing what people in the community are doing and starting to potentially empower them a little bit.
Yeah, they weren't the only ones. Again, I said there was a second one, the Owned Game League. Their tournament spans a lot of games. I know Dota and Fortnite are a part of that. Metalcore. But what they're doing, they're hosting like kind of micro tournaments throughout the month, and so each one has its own dates for when the tournament will run. The Spider Tanks one started on November 16th, and then it ended the 19th. The top 100, we're going to receive tanks and props. So the number one got 2 epic tanks, and then one of each, all the way down to common, maybe even more than that of the commons. And it looked like everyone in the top 100 got 13 props, prop NFTs. So yeah, the rewards were pretty good. There was something I saw, like someone was asking about when those are going to come out, and the official statement from Owned, they actually had it on their site that it was 7 to 30 days after the tournament end date. So anyone that's anticipating something from that, because you played, if you registered with them, it's not going to come immediately. They want to verify and make sure that everybody's above board. But so that was, again, like some more just public awareness of the game. And like I said, it's a great scrimmage. So if you can get a bunch of people who are doing their own little tournament style stuff, the mechanics for the game are wonderful. And so for them to, if you can gamify the game all of a sudden, it kind of brings some validity, and it kind of establishes Spider Tanks as something that's fun to play. So that hopefully they can also step up and add some new content that gets the community engaged. But in the meantime, the community wants to be engaged, where we are doing stuff with 100%.
And it's been that way, I think since the beginning. And so, I think we're at a point where, that, not to touch too much on the Gala Collective, but that's kind of why the Gala Collective is coming to be. To provide people an opportunity to come and create tournaments, create the games within a game. It makes it more fun when you're able to when you can play more than just the base game, right? Like Spider Tanks is great, and people come in and enjoy it, but these auxiliary benefits that you can get from outside tournaments and stuff, that's where the real fun is. So.
Well, and we talked about some of the places where it's shallow are like there's no season, there's no achievement tracking and things like that. Well, all of a sudden we have achievements being tracked. The survival mode. There you go. Tim and Deadly did that. That's great. Thanks, guys. We really appreciate that. Even wave, posting it up there and getting stuff going. There's if we can see more excitement in these games, more ways to feel like you've accomplished something. I think that's what people turn to games from. I had an idea that I'm working on as far as like just what is a game, and I'm not going to do that here, but maybe I'll see if I can write something up about that. Just what is it that's compelling about games, and what's going to make the difference for something to be a good game versus just something that you can play, and we know that people like to to achieve. You know, it's not even necessarily win. You know, like there's some people just like to be able to reach a point of completion. Here,
Yeah.
I did that.
Yeah.
You know, and so.
Oh, I'm that way. I mean, especially when I don't play Call of Duty anymore because it's just the same game every year. But when I used to, I mean, once I got gold or diamond camos unlocked on my guns, I usually stopped playing because it was like, for me, it was, I want to unlock all the guns. I want to get all the camos for them. And then once I'm done with that, I'd be playing the game. I'm like, well, I did what I kind of wanted to do. Like,
Yeah.
I did all the hard little challenges. I got all the long shots and headshots and, you know, RPG kills or whatever it is. Like I felt that sense of accomplishment. And that's why I liked the game, was to unlock things. And I like that style of, it's the gratification that comes with it. And I think, having people
honestly, like, games have been around for so long without earnings.
Oh, yeah.
Earnings is compelling. I mean, if I can make money playing video games, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But people have been playing video games and like rabidly for a very long time without being able to earn a cent. In fact, paying into it.
Oh yeah, we look at like Pac-Man, right, or the first Mario. You know, it's like you're playing for a high score. That's the gratification, is to be
Frogger.
the best.
You know, Frogger was such a popular game for so long.
You want your initials to be on the top of that leaderboard.
So Frogger's actually kind of almost a bad segue here because I think they're trying to distance themselves from any kind of any conversation like that. It is it's an endless hopper game. Get Plucked is still live, but they ran into some hiccups with the new build with the app stores, and so the competition had been scheduled to start in the middle of last week, and they put it off again. But there's going to be eventually 2 weeks of leaderboard competition, two separate weeks of competition, and the top 200 Vox owners, and then the top 3 free-to-play players, they'll all share in a $5,000 prize pool each week.
Nice.
And it'll be paid in Gala tokens.
Yep.
But they haven't broken it down. I don't know if it's going to be an even split or probably not. They'll probably weight the top scores a little more heavily. But that hasn't been shown yet. But since they couldn't do that, Vera Awesome ended up hosting a Discord party, and it was also in conjunction with the upcoming, I guess it's out now, the Trolls movie release.
Yep, the newest one.
Yeah, and so they did a lot of trivia for that, and there were 5 different people that topped the leaderboard on the answers. They used I've never used it myself, but Aha Slides or whatever that. It's like it's a platform that allows it works well for like quiz game kind of stuff.
Yep.
So the people with the top scores in that received some kind of NFT. I don't think it was actual Vox. I think they were dropping chickens. But yeah, so that was Friday of last week, and we're still waiting to hear news on when the competition is going to begin. Champions Arena has also had some hiccups. They resolved a bunch of things, but recently they found out there was some game abuse that was going on, where people were able to level their characters without actually putting the work in or putting the cost in. And those people were tokenizing their NFTs, and they sold them after leveling them. And the people that bought them brought them back into the game, and the response from One Universe and Gala was they saw the need to downgrade those NFTs. Because the mechanism that they went through in order to do that, they said it created a huge imbalance in the game and in the economy. So they downgraded the NFTs, but then rewarded, like they gave kind of a I don't want to say rewarded, but it was like essentially a consolation that they gave them gems in game.
Okay.
I think they were the paid gems too. So there's been a controversy over the paid and unpaid gems, because you can't buy certain things with the unpaid gems in game.
And those are the gems you just get every day.
Yeah, those are the ones that you can earn through like the free to play challenges and stuff like that, or however else you. And you also you get unpaid gems through your through your sales of in-game items. They
Mm.
because I mean, and that was wise. They saw that someone could very easily like loop that either through multi-accounting or whatever, where they were just
Yeah.
like
Selling
they
to
were
themselves.
yeah, and then being able to amass a bunch of gems and use those to essentially extract from the system in a way that was going to be damaging. But regardless of how the economy works and everybody's perspective on it, this particular thing ended up being problematic enough for them that they took this big step, and there was some pushback from it. There were some people that were kind of they lost a lot of value because these levels were removed from their champions. But
yeah, and then it sucked because those people, I'd assume, paid a premium to buy those leveled characters.
they did, some of them in the tens of thousands.
So I wonder if there was any sort of repercussion on the seller. Like, did they do anything to the seller account? The people who
nothing's been formally like announced, but I'd assume that there were some bans that got handed out.
Yeah,
that's so hard because
yeah.
everything's pseudonymous in
Mm-hmm.
in blockchain culture. So yeah, at least that account isn't going to be able to pull that off anymore, I imagine.
I mean, that's part of the problem. It's in every game we're seeing. Outside of Gala too, right? There's when you have even in games that don't have earnings, people cheat, right? So if people cheat in a regular game for no reason,
just for pride,
people are going to cheat in something where there's a potential earning. So it's going to be interesting to see. I know there's a lot of anti-cheat softwares out there, and I wonder whether they're going to migrate to create a Web3 solution, or I wonder if someone else out there is going to work to create, a Web3 some sort of anti-cheat solution program that, like say Gala could get their hands on and be like, okay, these are our parameters of what we consider cheating. That program launches alongside whatever game it may be. I don't know. It sucks to hear, people take advantage of no different than in The Walking Dead when people were doing the floorboard.
Oh yeah, the leveling hack. Yeah,
it's always going to be there. Just sucks.
Yeah, but I think you're right. There's a demand for someone to step in and develop a way. If they can make it vanilla enough that you can plug it into any kind of gaming format, that I think that would be really good, really good piece of IP. Legacy, another game that saw some hacks. They didn't have a suggestions channel before, and I wonder if that's because 22 Cans is an outside developer. But Ventit posted that they're going to have that they've opened it since the post, that there's a legacy suggestions channel now. They were very clear that the channel is only for constructive criticism, and that they were going to be deleting stuff that just any kind of drama or any kind of like side posting. I think this suggestion channel is being fed directly to 22 Cans and Peter Molyneux, so that they can get an idea of what the community has to say about things. And as of now, the majority of those posts in there have been directly related to the earnings mechanism. There's one of the problems with Legacy is that it uses the Legacy ticket system, which is similar to victory points.
Okay.
And the reward is based on 15% of the daily spend. So if you're buying gems for the game, 85% of that will go to Gala and 22 Cans, but that 15% is reserved for rewards. Well, the amount of gems that you need to spend in game in order to qualify for Legacy tickets, people crunch the numbers, and it is impossible to win anything. Even the winners end up losing money on the gems. So that's something that it needs some revamping in order for the game to make sense. Otherwise, the game just has to stand on its own, right? It has to be compelling enough that people would want to play it, whether or not, because you play a game like Clash of Clans or something like that. You're paying for those gems and you're not winning anything from it. You're just advancing your game. So so the game, if the game can stand alone compelling that way, then maybe people would buy gems. But most of the people engaged at this point are looking at it from the standpoint of, okay, if I buy some gems, maybe I get to actually have a chance at that higher earnings tier. But if you can't make anything and you're spending money on gems just to lose money, a lot of people are gonna kind of turn away from that. They're not gonna engage. Mirandus had some discoveries of errors within the bridging. The bridging framework that they were working with in order to get the shipwreck crates out. It seems like there's a lot of like glitches that are being found. That was the theme of this week, I guess. A lot of errors, a lot of problems, but also like the encouragement that they're looking for solutions. They're at least telling us, like, yeah, we found these problems. I like that a lot better than anything being brushed under the rug and like, okay, we'll 100%. Deal with that. And then so we're seeing some of this stuff. These things just kind of like come out of the woodwork, and now Mirandus has this situation with the shipwreck crates where they apparently the contract code for some of the Mirandus NFTs had some I don't know, it was just like written funkily, and they needed to find a workaround so that when they bridged from ETH to Gala chain, that it wouldn't fail. They were actually having issues with that. And so they, as of right now, I think Manny said that they had gotten past the point where it was an issue with the actual bridge, and now it's on the on the token side. Specifically with like token generation side, I believe. So they're stepping that further down the line, but it's not 100% yet, and they will keep us updated. They also haven't told us the prices yet. The prices, like the estimated prices, have been posted for months now. We've seen like a range of it, but then originally it was posted at a static ETH price, and then ETH jumped. So people are like, well, the dollar value for that cost just went up significantly, and NFT values didn't. So like, what do we do there? So they're definitely paying attention to like the bottom dollar cost of these things, and they're going to make it they're going to adjust it based on like market conditions, I think, before they finally go live with it. And then I will tout this guy like until the end. The Jason Hughes continues week after week to put out his tech update. He just launches it into the Mirandus general chat. He starts with a nice little bit of flavor text talking about some adventurers that are doing some things, and then he posts just kind of an update on what they did. What kind of work did they do? And like, again, like I said, week after week I read it and I have no idea what he's talking about. It's like, oh wow, that mega box hunky dunk thing just plugged into that, and I'm like, okay, you got it, man, that's awesome. But he also is like savvy enough to understand that most of us are like that. Most of us are like my boomer brain kind of thing, and so he kind of puts it in layman's terms a bit. And this week, one of the monsters are just getting more and more intimidating, because apparently now they can communicate with one another. And they're working on the tech so that like wind and waterfall noise will interfere with that. Like they're building out the environment in a very like lifelike way. So like if they're shouting to one another, but the noise is too loud, maybe they won't hear, kind of thing. But they do communicate with each other. They're moving towards like tracking skills for the monsters. Just all sorts of real like breathing life into this AI kind of stuff. They also are now smart enough that they won't shoot their allies. Like if a goblin charges in to like claw at you, his buddy's not going to shoot him in the back with an arrow. So it's like they're getting pretty smart.
Yeah, that's what you want it to be. You want it to be challenging and engaging like that. I mean, if you can
Yeah.
really good games, that's how they work. Like, I mean, I've played a lot of games, and when the AI can kind of almost outsmart you sometimes, it makes it feel like you're actually
yeah, like if you play against like the best chess AI, you're gonna get beat, and so like making Miranda's hard. Okay, so the AI, it's going to need to express itself differently. You're talking about a whole lot of work in regards to making those things seem like monsters, seem like they have a will of their own. But it's still that basic concept of a computer processing in such a way to beat you, to do the task before you do, which is like in this case, kill you before you kill it, kind of thing. And so they can, I'm sure they can modulate that, like, oh no, we're going to make them a little bit smarter, and you're going to have to work a lot harder to be able to get through this place. So that's pretty cool. Poker Go Play. So Bitbender's was on vacation last week, and he still couldn't stay out of Gala Gold Chat. He was all over the place, still talking to people, but he didn't. He wasn't there for the Poker Go Play sessions. So Chair Bandit and Think Jay Hoon took over there, and they it was all Gala people this week. They didn't have any other special guests, but they just played and kind of chatted about stuff. One of the other things that came up for Poker Go Play, again, another glitch kind of thing. There was they've been calling it the chip reset issue, where you would be at a table and you would be winning chips, and you would leave the table and your chip totals wouldn't match up. It didn't and in some cases you would leave the table and you would like lose all your chips. It kind of depended on how much you had won.
Okay.
So they had addressed it, but it came back for some reason. They didn't quite find the source of the problem. And on the day that they made the announcement about it, they credited everybody's account with 100,000 chips to play with. But then since then, they also sent out 5 50,000 chip markers and a 1 million chip marker to everybody that had been playing over the 3 weeks prior to that. And so you'll have those in your accounts. If you click on your chip total, it'll open a pop-up and you'll be able to see your marker tokens, and you can cash them in whenever you want. Again, they're the chips, the chips that you can play with. So if you say you burn through your chips at a table, you can go and use one of those chips in order to be able to get a fresh start for that day instead of waiting the 24 hours for the daily reset.
Nice.
A lot of these things were mentioned in Ahead of the Game this week. Again, with Jason on vacation, Anita took over, and she was she did a lot of the game review stuff, a lot of the game update stuff, and again, we've addressed most of that. One of the things that she brought up, there had been a post about an upcoming Eternal Paradox AMA, and they put a link for the questionnaire form, but in that Ahead of the Game episode, Anita said they hadn't given us a time. They didn't establish a time or date for the AMA, and then she let us know that it'll actually be this evening, at least Pacific time. It'll be November 20, 5 p.m. Pacific. So I guess it's early morning Korean time, and it'll be kind of dinner time for those of us in the States.
Yep.
There was no AMA portion. Again, I think a lot of that has to do with like Bitbender. He's kind of got a zoomed out view of the whole ecosystem. So as people are peppering him with questions, he has answers. And so they just skipped the AMA portion, and we're still looking forward to the kind of the spin-off of Ahead of the Game in the game. They wanted to get that going this week or this past week. Apparently they ran into some hiccups too, and so there'll be they're still looking forward to their first installment of In the Game, which is
nice.
Going to feature more gameplay than
just overview stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Common Ground World has their town hall every week. They're not going to have it for Thanksgiving week. So this coming Friday, there will be no Common Ground World Town Hall. But last week's Town Hall, Musashi is back now. He had gotten married and he was able to enjoy some time with his new wife.
Nice.
But he's back and he was in the meeting. He outlined. He said there's 4 major things that they're working on, and then a 5th that's that they're focused on, but it's not quite as big of a impactful thing on the Common Ground World ecosystem. Their biggest and primary one right now that their development focuses on is the guilds and nodes. Like those, they go hand in hand. That if you're a node owner, you'll be able to be a guild owner.
Okay.
So that's their main focus right now. But they're also building out the daily challenge structure. So what we saw back during a Town Star Play to Earn was a daily challenge that if you qualified for earnings because you had NFTs that were set with a certain number of town points, you had to perform a daily challenge in order to accomplish that. So the daily challenge is all wrapped up with the earnings concept for the game. So that's their number 2 thing that they're really plowing forward into. The next is their NFT upgrade system. They've released a couple NFTs already, and their plan is for many more. That they will start at a base level, and it doesn't matter what the different function of the NFT is. It'll start at like a minimal capability, and then through the game you'll be able to earn upgrade items and dirt, which will allow you to take those up to I think the level cap for those is supposed to be 20, and that may change as well. But as they upgrade, the impact of their function, their utility grows. So right now there's a compost bin that they released in conjunction with the Common Ground World, or the Common Ground movie. It was in some of the mystery boxes. That compost bin decreases the timers for a lot of the things that grow, and as that will be upgraded, those timers are going to be reduced even better, and the range on that NFT will be improved. It's not just going to be with adjacent things; it'll go out to further spaces away, so that it'll end up having a pretty dominant impact because of the way that there's so much that you have to grow in that game. Mm-hmm. And the faster those things grow, the faster your whole mechanism can run, and the more points you can score, and the better your town does. The 4th thing that he mentioned was consumable boosts, and they've talked about a gem system for a really long time, in starting even back in Town Star days. Now in Common Ground World, they're going to be. I don't know if they're going to tokenize these things, if it's going to be an on-chain event, or if it's just going to be something database driven. But you're going to be able to purchase boosts and use them in game for a set amount of time, where all of a sudden, say all of a sudden your windmills are just flying that much faster, and so that should make for some interesting gameplay. There's always been like there are different tiers. Even at the top, there's a fierce battle for that number 1 spot, and a lot of times we've seen Nacho G has been a superstar for a long time, and he's setting all the records. He's winning week after week. But someone like Paramin, like, who also gets that top spot sometimes, like these boosts may end up becoming like one of those things that can make for a really heated battle at any of the stages, because we do have different tiers where the earnings all of a sudden change, and sometimes it's a dramatic change. Like sometimes you're doubling your Gala earnings by moving from one tier to the next. So that could make for some exciting drama in the competition. And then the other thing so that was the 4 main things that they're focused on, and the other one that they want to build out is the Common Ground World Academy. That is another upgradable NFT that came through the mystery boxes with the movie, and we saw this months ago, there was an item that you were able to purchase just in the game. There's just the standard building called the research station, where you would have to accomplish certain things in your town, and then you would qualify for like permanent boosts for that town for that week. The Common Ground World Academy is an NFT that's going to work that way, where like say this week you're supposed to be building pumpkin pies, but in order to get your tractors to move faster, you have to make X number of candy corn or something like that. They just there's an arbitrary, hopefully related, maybe they can work that in like from a narrative standpoint, but you're gonna build something else first in order to get a boost in the speed or an increase, some kind of advantage if you accomplish that task while you're building the town that is supposed to be producing this other thing. And so it's another neat little just a game puzzle that makes it more interesting.
100%.
Last thing I want to talk about is just Walking Dead is still doing its thing. The Moth is still doing its thing within The Walking Dead too. We are still leading all the leaderboards. Our number one player, Dark Rift, he's
what is he, level like 67 or something?
Higher actually. He is really showing some stamina in this. He's just like he's got a technique that he sits down and he just starts doing this loop, and any ancient walker in his path falls to his sword and he just keeps going. Nice. And he will do that for 12 to 16 hours a day. The guy is a machine. So and it's showing, like, yeah, he really is. We got some other cool things going on. There's a little bit of a base building, not an actual competition, but we're like Gem and the Moth are kind of like trading back and forth on how deep into the upgrading for your base we can get. Gem is a step ahead of us, but we're having it was an aesthetics discussion last night that as you get higher levels, you use metal, and so the one level is all like corrugated aluminum or something like that,
Okay.
And it's just like Dark was like, it's just ugly, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll leave the stone, so like this, obviously the one has higher, like it's got higher health, so it's not going to break as fast, but like at this stage of the game, we've already got it leveled up all the way, so there's no real incentive to build it out other than just to make it pretty and have fun with it. But like I said, Gem is further along. They've got their walls to tier 9. It's a 10 total wall levels that you can have.
Okay. And
they all have almost their entire wall structure up at level 9. Like I said, I stalled out at like level 7 because it was stone and looked good.
Yeah, I like aesthetics over function.
There was a call to build it up because there were some people in the game that are kind of playing maliciously because they really want access to the ancient forge and the ancient cookery that are hidden inside the Blackheart base, and so they'll kite the heavy walkers, which are like they have a falling attack that if it hits you, it does like a bunch of damage and it stuns you. If it hits a wall, it hits hard, and they will continue doing that repetitively if you trigger that attack. So I caught 2 people out in front of my base trying to get walkers to fall into my wall. So I killed the walkers, and then they didn't have anything they could do anymore. Like they can't stop me from interfering with that. But if I'm not there, they could eventually break down the wall and get in and get close enough to use that NFT. They have talked about establishing permissions for the NFTs. Even if someone gets in, they can't use it unless either like, and this has been something that made sense to pay to use it. Like if there's a cost associated with it, that would be one thing. But we were having a bit of a philosophical discussion about whether or not it's even ethical for somebody to feel entitled to using somebody's NFT that they paid thousands and thousands of dollars for just because it's there, you should let me use your thing. It's like,
no.
Well, yeah, exactly. That's the point. It is a discussion to be had. That the game wasn't coded that way. The game doesn't have a permission system for it, and simply because the game allows it, there is a sense of entitlement that a lot of people have adopted. But where we've been pushing back against that, in order to kind of to maintain the value of the item. Now, those ancient crafting stations really provide a benefit, because if you can get a 5-star item, it just won't break for a really long time, which means that you're not paying as much in material costs or in scrap in order to make a new item. And so it changes the way that you have to play the game. And so it's supposed to be that kind of advantage. It's a really powerful item for a reason. Giving the entire universe access to that item.
Let's say, why would you buy it? Why'd you buy it then?
Exactly. Why didn't they just put it there for everybody to use? So rather than being just a really nice guy, no, this is something, again, this is something that's going to, God willing, end up as a Gala Collective asset. And so if the Gala Collective is able to leverage ownership of this thing in a way that people are paying to use it, whether it's a percentage of like the scrap cost, or maybe it'll be in dead coin, or however they go about that would make sense. Sure, you can come use that.
Contribute resources to the communal pool, and you get access to using it. Or there's a lot of, especially when you think about it being on chain, we should be able to track those types of activities and have that as a permission basis for people utilizing. Or on the other side, people come into the Gala Collective, they're like, hey, we're putting together a wiki on The Walking Dead. If we provide this to the Gala Collective, could we possibly have access to your Ancient Forge or something? Like providing content. Like there's all these avenues of how if you bring positive change to the ecosystem, you should have access to the things that the collective owns, so to speak, because that's the goal of why we're doing it in the first place.
So that's pretty much the wrap for the week. We did see a lot of stuff. Again, the theme seemed to be there's bugs, but they're also out there squashing them. So we'll see how things go. Hopefully next week we'll see some updates on the Get Plucked situation, the Shipwreck Crate sale, and again, and apparently Bitbender is going to be back. So as far as like the different streams that he does, I think we'll see him again in Ahead of the Game and in the Poker Go Play session. So
nice.
More to look forward to. I am excited about this Eternal Paradox AMA tonight. I'm gonna be plugged into that because that's a highly anticipated game for me. It's gonna
be a big one.
We have some assets to work with, but also I just really enjoyed those play tests. I think there's a really compelling gameplay loop with that it can be really successful. So we'll see 100%. What they have to say about economy and upcoming. I know they're going to do hero sales and things like that. So we'll have that to report on next week.
Yep. Awesome. No, that's great. We'll be back here same time a week from today, and
maybe same time, maybe a little bit of a time adjustment. And who knows? We might see Nate's face.
Exactly. But we'll have an article out posted this afternoon diving into all the things we talked about today. So be sure to keep your eyes peeled, and we'll have more information coming your way.
Yeah. Thanks a bunch, guys.
Yep. All right. Have a good one, everyone.
48 minutes. Shoot.
Yeah, right on it.
I was trying to wrap up there. I realized at the end I staved off the Walking Dead stuff to the very end, and I didn't write anything about that. There wasn't any specific news. I don't know if you want me to type something up and include it, or if you're okay just letting it fly as it is.
I think we can just let it fly as it is.
Okay, cool. Yeah, most of it's just boasting at this point because we are dominating that game. It's awesome. Even Wave is in there. Camera is in there. You got some so Bill's a Bob, and his Discord name is Ivan, but he goes by Carl in the game. And
Okay.
Dark Rift, they're all piloting Nate's Ancients and Legendaries. So we got those three guys that are they've taken their piloting jump really seriously. They're grinding hard. So that's super like encouraging, because like we found guys that are gonna actually like